A New York judge is set to decide this week whether President-elect Donald Trump's criminal conviction for paying hush money to a porn star should be overturned. Justice Juan Merchan has said he will make his decision by Tuesday. Trump in May became the first former U.S. president to be convicted of a crime, when a jury in Manhattan found him guilty of 34 counts of falsifying business records to hide a potential sex scandal shortly before his first presidential victory in 2016. Here's Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg.
While this defendant may be unlike any other in American history, we arrived at this trial and ultimately today at this verdict in the same manner as every other case that comes through the courtroom doors, by following the facts and the law and doing so without fear or favor.
Trump pleaded not guilty and denied wrongdoing in the case and in all 3 other criminal cases against him. He has portrayed them as political persecutions by allies of Democratic President Joe Biden designed to thwart his campaign.
We have a judge who's highly conflicted. You know what the confliction is. Nobody wants to write about it, and I'm not allowed to talk about it. If I do, he said, I get put in jail. So we'll play that game a little bit longer. We won't talk about it.
But after that guilty verdict came a groundbreaking Supreme Court decision arising from one of Trump's other criminal prosecutions for allegedly conspiring to overturn the results of his 2020 election loss. The justices, including 3 appointed by Trump, argued that presidents are immune from prosecution stemming from what they called official acts, and that juries in criminal cases cannot be presented with evidence of official acts in trials over personal criminal conduct. Trump's lawyers argued that the jurors in his New York case were shown evidence by prosecutors of his social media posts as president and heard testimony from other former aides about conversations that occurred in the White House. A favorable ruling by Merchan for Trump on the immunity question could pave the way for Trump to return to office unencumbered by any of the 4 criminal cases that once appeared to threaten his ambitions to win back the White House. Instead, Trump will likely take office as the first president convicted of multiple felonies. Officials at the U.S. Justice Department are assessing how to wind down the 2 federal criminal cases brought against Trump by special counsel Jack Smith due to its long-standing policy against prosecuting a sitting president. A separate case in Georgia involving state election charges concerning Trump's efforts to overturn his 2020 presidential election loss remains in limbo.
A security camera captured the moment a deadly blast went off at a busy train station in southwest Pakistan on Saturday. It killed at least 24 people and injured more than 40, many of them critically. That's according to police, who said they suspect it was a suicide bombing. This eyewitness described people running around in chaos. Some people were injured, some with blown-up legs, some with blown-up arms and hands, he said. A separatist militant group, the Baloch Liberation Army, claimed responsibility for the attack in a statement emailed to Reuters. The group wants independence for Balochistan, a province of about 15 million people that borders Afghanistan to the north and Iran to the west. It's the biggest of several ethnic insurgent groups battling the government, saying it unfairly exploits the province's rich gas and mineral resources. Balochistan's Inspector General of Police said the attack on the train station in the provincial capital Quetta was targeting army personnel. Pakistan is grappling with a surge in strikes by separatist groups in Balochistan. In August, at least 73 people were killed after militants attacked police stations, railway lines and highways.
China's chip index leapt to close at a 3-year high on Monday. That's on bets Beijing will accelerate its chip-making efforts after the US ordered Taiwan's TSMC to suspend shipments of advanced semiconductors to Chinese clients. Reuters reported that the chip maker will halt shipments from Monday. Analysts said that while the move might lead to some short-term pain for Chinese firms, it could boost the domestic sector, specifically those companies involved in making chips for AI and graphic processing units. The CSI Semiconductor Index jumped more than 6% during trading on Monday to the highest since December 2021. Shares in SMIC, China's largest foundry and the country's main alternative to TSMC, rose more than 4%. Many rely on Taiwan-based TSMC, the world's leading contract chip maker, whose clients include Apple, for production. And now it joins the list of other chip makers, including Nvidia and AMD, that have been barred by the US from selling to Chinese clients. In response to these restrictions, Chinese firms and chip designers have in recent years sought to design their own advanced processors.
The German economy used to be described as Europe's growth engine, but it's underperformed Eurozone peers since 2018. It's now facing further pain as car giant Volkswagen plans to shut factories at home. Adding to the woes, Germany's governing coalition collapsed last week, capping months of wrangling over budget policy and the direction of the economy. According to Reuters interviews with 12 executives, entrepreneurs and economists, Germany is overlooking an untapped growth potential in its services sector. The sector, which ranges from hospitality to finance and IT, is growing faster than the country's manufacturing industry. And while the segment is smaller compared to that of other European economies, it already makes up the bulk of Germany's economy. Services grew 1.6% in the first half of this year from a year ago, while manufacturing contracted by 2.8%. And the services sector represented 70% of Germany's gross domestic product last year. But business leaders say a suffocating bureaucracy and a culture of heavy regulation is stifling the creation of new companies and new jobs. They say this is particularly true for small and mid-sized businesses. Together, they make up over half of Germany's workforce. Over-regulation is also exacerbating a labour shortage. Half of companies active in Germany's services sector say they struggle to find workers, according to a recent report. Many services sector professions, including lawyers and doctors, require specific legal standards and certificates to practice. But in Germany, the requirements appear to be stricter and affecting a wider range of jobs.